New question, the member from Simcoe Grey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The question is also for the Premier. Premier, you've had 9 months as Premier of this province. You presented my leader 2 weeks ago, Tim Hudak, with a list of 6 government bills you wanted to see through the House and 3 private members' bills from our side. We're agreeing with you today through a programming motion. I should add that 90% of those bills aren't of your making. They're left over from Dalton McGuinty's government. They're housekeeping bills. They do nothing to help the over 500,000 women and men who woke up this morning without a job. So let's not have any more conversations, because that could go on for days. Let's get your commitment now to support our programming motion, clear the decks, and get on with talking about jobs and the economy.
Be seated, please. Be seated, please. Premier.
Much, Mr. Speaker, and I've already said I think it's a very good thing. The very reason that I presented that list of bills to the Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Speaker, was to say, let's get on with these pieces of legislation, because there is a lot more work to do. Things, Mr. Speaker, like getting the Waste Reduction Act passed, things like getting the employer health tax exemption passed, Mr. Speaker. So my hope is that if we can act on these bills that I presented to the Leader of the Opposition, then maybe on some of these other things we can get some cooperation too, because, Mr. Speaker, I agree with the Leader of the Opposition. We do need to create jobs. We are creating jobs. That's what the Global Trade Forum is about this morning. That's what legislation that we're introducing into this House is about, Mr. Speaker. I look forward to their support.
Supplementary.
Premier, in spite of telling the media and the public that you've been trying to work with us and then blaming us for holding up the legislative agenda, nothing could be further from the truth. The only programming motion that you brought forward was in cahoots with the NDP. We were cut out of that.
Order. I expect the same on all sides. Please finish.
You've never had a conversation with us about speeding up the legislative agenda and getting on to talking about jobs and the economy. Never. So we took the initiative today to do it for you. So just say yes. Let's move forward. No more conversations. There's no tricks in the motion. It's been approved by the clerks. Just say yes.
Stop it. Please. Be seated, please. Be seated, please. Premier.
Well, I look forward to the House leaders talking about the programming motion. I think it's a step in the right direction, Mr. Speaker. No matter what the member of the opposition says, Mr. Speaker, the fact is that we have found a way, because I have had a number of conversations with the Leader of the Opposition, because I presented the notion that somehow there might be a way of moving through some of these pieces of legislation where there was agreement. If they need to take credit for that, Mr. Speaker, so be it. The fact is, we're going to move these pieces of legislation through, and I'm very pleased that the Leader of the Opposition has taken me up on my offer, Mr. Speaker.
Final supplementary.
Premier, you know, the only one showing leadership around here is Tim Hudak and the Ontario. I'm going to ask on behalf of my leader in caucus this afternoon for unanimous consent. So if you can't make up your mind now, you've got 2 hours and a half. And we hope that we will get unanimous consent to introduce that motion. If we don't get unanimous consent, then we hope by the end of the day that your government House Leader will introduce the programming motion, that we clear the decks, we get on with talking about jobs and the economy, and start working for the people of Ontario and the unemployed of Ontario. They deserve nothing less.
Thank you. Be seated, please. Be seated, please. Thank you. Premier.
Mr. Speaker, this is a very positive development. I know the House leaders are going to have this conversation. It's exactly what I think needs to happen. Is there needs to be a coming together on some of these things that are important, Mr. Speaker. Make no mistake, and the members of the opposition can diminish these pieces of legislation, but protecting young people from cancer, protecting consumers, Mr. Speaker, against fraud, those are very, very important initiatives. And I hope that given this exchange that we will see, Mr. Speaker, that the opposition will work with us on things like the employer health tax exemption, Mr. Speaker, which is a direct job creator, and I look forward to their support, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. New question.